How's everybody? Are you all right? Everybody good technically? Yeah? Danny Deal?
Yes, sir.
Everybody good?
Checking in.
All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Gosh, what a turnout. You know, we're hopeful for just a delightful spring day. Somewhat disappointed, dry though, so you know, we gotta take the good with the bad. Didn't bring you out here and have you dodging these fire anthills for no reason. Have you watch that fire anthill, Danny Deal? Have you out here because we really excited to talk about a new division, transportation division that we're going to talk a little bit more about in just a couple of minutes, and more importantly, how it relates to our community, especially those community members who work near, come out and play, and frequent greenways like this one. Somewhere in the area, 60 miles of greenway in our area here. A lot of territory to cover, and it always hasn't been the easiest to patrol and manage, and that's going to change in the short order, is changing in the short order, and that's due in large part to the work that we do with Park and Rec and our new transportation division. I've got Captain Nate King to my left, and he's going to talk about that division, going to talk about that partnership, what they do, how it benefits the community. Following Captain King, we've got Lee Jones over there, that dashing fellow with the handsome sports coat. He's the director of Park and Rec, and he's going to talk about their role in the equation and how we all work together, and again, what it means to the community. So without further delay, Captain Nate King.
Good morning. My name is Nathan King. I'm the captain of the Transportation Division. And first, let me pause and give our thanks to City DOT for plowing the streets of Yellow Pollen so that we can make it here today. We were hoping very much to have a nice spring day because at this time of year we have a huge surge in the attendance and participation in the parks and greenway systems here in our county. We enjoy that. We enjoy that as a privilege as a big city, and we enjoy having our citizens have that available to them. With the size of our city and with the responsibilities of Park and Recreation, that brings also the challenges of managing such a large expanse of recreational space. Within our own police divisions, all 13 divisions have greenway space in them, and we have over 42 miles of just paved greenway space to manage as well. So, what is that important to you? Why is it important to our citizens? The same problem that you had getting here this morning. We had a press conference at the Greenway, but we had to give you a physical address for a parking lot. So whether it's a downed tree or a missing sign or a health care incident or any other manner of thing that happens on the Greenway, you have to give a physical address of a parking lot for us to find it and to go there. Whose responsibility is that? Well, ordinarily, if we have an emergency, we have to start at the Greenway entrances and work our way in. And that's just not fast enough often to our satisfaction, and it's not as efficient as we need to be. So our friends with Park and Recreation have started working very heavily with us in the technology aspect. You see all these fine tools behind us. We have bikes and gators. We have all the tools available to us, but those aren't as effective if we don't know where to go. Parks and Rec just recently hired analysts for their division. They have the same capabilities as we do with our crime analysts. We're able to give them the full data stream, and so they are in short order going to start processing and mapping the incidents they have. This is not only crime incidents, this is calls for service and other incidents. What that means is we get to go from beyond the parking lot into the specific location on the Greenway. Park rangers will have the ability to grid an incident in their call, and then we'll be able to map that and respond accordingly. This will enhance our relationship with Parks and Recs. It will make us more effective as team members together, and it'll let us able to identify and locate the resources where they're most effective. That's not the only thing. I'll let Parks and Rec tell their own story, but they're developing an app for the phone. And so it's a good day when we can use technology in that way. We have 13 divisions, and formerly that meant that our Parks and Rec counterparts here had to contact 13 individual division commanders to get assistance on a particular problem. That problem may be, if it's a greenway, it may span 2 or 3 divisions. And they were working to coordinate that and do that on their own. We now have Lieutenant Farrell over there to my left, who will be the tip of the spear for anything that we do with Parks and Recreation. That gives Parks and Recreation one place to call, and it gives us the responsibility and the resources to follow up on that. We will take that very seriously. We enjoy it. We are not pointing out that there's some significant crime problem on the greenways. It's the actual opposite of that. But we want to keep it that way. It's not an excuse for us to let it go because it's going well. It's an opportunity for us to build something even better and keep it that way. We have a great opportunity as a church, as a whole group here. We have opportunity as a community to grow as a city. And we have an opportunity as various organizations within the county and city government to grow together. But we have the responsibility that we share together of keeping it safe, keeping it managed, and making it accessible to you. So we look to you to do your part. We look to you to do the things that we need you to do for safety and for common sense. A couple of safety tips that are always good to point out this time of year that help us all have a better summer and a better springtime. Don't leave your valuables in the car. It's a huge temptation. We say it every single season, and we mean it every single season, but it still continues to happen. Don't bring things to the Greenway that you're not going to use on the Greenway. It's not good practice, and criminals know that. Make sure that you lock your doors. There's some reluctance to do that for some reason, but it is always better to lock your doors than not. Use the Greenways with a friend or a family member. Let them know where you are. Emergencies happen when they're unexpected, and you may not be able to call. If you have a medical emergency, it'll be good to have someone there who can. Make sure someone knows when you're going to the Greenway or a park, and they know when you're expected home. That way, the sooner that something is amiss with you, you have a health care concern or some other matter, then resources can be out there for you. Report anything suspicious. People always ask, what is suspicious? If you have to ask yourself that question, it's suspicious. Please call us. We are waiting to call. We are available 24 hours a day. We are ready to serve you. So let us look at what has caught your attention and investigate it for you. And if you have a medical issue, please wear that identification on you. It is so helpful. It speeds up the response, and it allows anyone who might come across you having a medical emergency to properly ask for the care that you so desperately need at that time. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for coming out here. I'm glad to have you with us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lee Jones. I'm the director for the Mecklenburg County Park and Recreation Department. And on behalf of County Manager Dina Diora and our Board of County Commissioners, I bid you greetings. Here in Mecklenburg County, we have a world-class greenway system, over 40 miles. Greenways, as you know, are one of our most popular recreation amenities, providing great opportunities for residents to stay active and for transportation. While these trails offer a lot of enjoyment for our residents, it's important that our residents are aware of the few things to ensure a pleasant and safe experience. Today, along with Charlotte Mecklenburg's Police Department, we're here to announce an initiative to enhance safety measures along our greenways and to remind you of some useful safety and etiquette tips. Currently, Park and Recreation has 38 park rangers who patrol our entire greenway system, which, as you know, is incredibly large, and they're also responsible for over 23,000 acres of our park system. Through this initiative, we will be able to dedicate more resources during peak hours to expand our trail system, which is just like the population in Charlotte-Mecklenburg continues to grow at a rapid rate. This initiative helps to streamline our communication between Park and Recreation and Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. The idea is for both of us are on site. If we're both on site or in the general area, you're likely to enhance our response time to incidents. We're using some new tools to help us to enhance this overall experience. New equipment that's on site, vehicles, signage, just to name a few. We're also very excited to announce that in June we'll be launching a brand new Park and Recreation app. This app will allow patrons to report things that they see on the Greenway and on the trails that require immediate attention. And that's been made possible by our staff working with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, including our Park Superintendent Greg Clemmer, our Division Director for Operations, Mr. Peter Cook, and our Management Analyst, Elizabeth Morrell. While this initiative will go a long way in enhancing our ability to patrol the greenways, it is still important for residents to understand just a few rules of etiquette as you're using the greenway system. Number one, always walk with others along the greenway when you can. Try to have a buddy system. Always be aware of your surroundings. Remember that pedestrians have the right of way on the greenways. And give an audible warning or alert to others as you pass. Always try to pass on the left. Keep to the right unless you are passing, and always be courteous to other trail users. Thank you.
Questions for Director Jones, questions for Captain King? Gentlemen.
Besides the lieutenant, what else is involved in this?
What's involved in this is, obviously I'm involved in it, our whole division is. What we're doing is there isn't enough space. If we put an officer for every square inch, it's not going to be coverage. But to work with the divisions, right now it's one of their workloads. It's one of the things that's mixed in the middle. We can get to do the prep work on the front end, come up with a plan, come up with some specific, and obviously the analytical work to give it focus before we hand it to them. Right now it was handled through a bunch of phone calls and emails, and now we're able to actually prep that up, give them a package, give them something they constructively do about that situation rather than spend all that time themselves investigating it. And that way we cut down that time. The Parks and Rec aren't spending a lot of time on the phone with us. They aren't contacting multiple people, and we're making it much more efficient and prompt.
Is this a matter of buying more vehicles or equipment?
No, it's not.
So will the app be good for both?
Hold on, sir.
Yes, sir. How can people, if someone's got an issue on the trail, how can they better let you know where they are?
The main problem that we've had is the consistency and description of the location. Some people don't know. Some people actually give us a wrong location, and we end up searching the whole greenway for the issue. It could be a small, very small issue, such as signage or a downed tree, like I said, or it could be a medical issue or a lost child or anything like that, and we have to search the whole greenway. Part of it with the Parks and Rec app, and they'll explain as it rolls out, that gives a physical location and allows you to take a photograph and pinpoint that. The park rangers now have the ability to actually grid that to a specific location. And so, as you know, these greenways go through a multiplicity of neighborhoods. We're able to not go through the entrance the way the patrons came through, but go through the neighborhood or the nearest neighborhood gate and get to that directly. So that helps us a great deal. The same thing with any kind of disorder or crime problem. We can actually deal with that at the location instead of having to treat the whole park, the whole greenway as one item. We can focus on that particular portion of it.
Any idea how much time that'll save you in an emergency situation?
An emergency situation, I've been out here for lost children. I've been out here for many years ago for an assault, and it took us 30, 45 minutes to find that person. We had a clothing description. If we had a specific location, I'm thinking particularly of the lost child location back here, then we would have been within 1/10 of a mile at initial arrival. So you're talking about a huge time savings as far as, especially on the perception end. If you're on the trail, you're injured, it's not even a life-threatening crisis, you're there with a broken leg or something like that, then that time for the citizen is huge. Yes,
so
sir.
this will be available for both Apple and Android devices?
You'll have to ask them.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And you probably, if you did, forgive me, but can you clarify the transportation division, of how many folks with specific...
Transportation division is over the airport, it's over light rail, it's over the parks and greenways, it's over the fatality crash investigations. And so the simple version of that is planes, trains, and automobiles. If you think about it that way, you kind of understand what our mandate is. And so this is part of that. Part of that reasoning is that the greenways are not specific to a division, and it needs an eye of its own watching it, not a piece of someone else's work, because some of the problems are comprehensive. If you have a particular disorder issue that's going on in greenway, it may translate to another greenway. And so what we wanted is to, because it's becoming such a big piece of business as far as Charlotte city life, then we wanted to have a particular responsibility addressing that as well. How big is the unit? The unit is, with the airport and all that, is around 100 officers. But we're talking about task specific. Okay.
What kinds of issues do you guys come across in the greenways? I know you mentioned earlier it could be a downed tree, it could be I don't want people to get a perception that you're out here talking because there's a big crime problem. So that's
All sorts of things. I mean, because our greenways are built in the riparian areas, along our tribs and creeks, you can have a fallen tree, you can have a washout or a slippery area on one of our boardwalks. You can have trash. You can have and someone spotting an animal. All these type of things require attention, and this will help us provide the attention necessary to mitigate these situations.
Anybody else?
When is the app on?
The app is going to launch, I think, within the next 30 days, about around sometime early summer, about in June.
What's it
I don't know if we have a name for the app yet. Are we calling it Park app, or we haven't named it yet? Park and Rec Mobile.
I have a comment. Hey, my name's Chuck Malinowski. I'm an avid Greenway user, and it's just a wonderful. Oh, thank you. Thank you. My name's Chuck Malinowski. I commute with the Greenway at least one day a week. It's fabulous. The Greenways that are here, it changed my life around. It's cheaper than joining a gym, but I recommend joining the Y or another gym in the area and use it in conjunction with it. The people on the Greenway, they're happy when you pass them, except if there's a bike rider going by that doesn't say, hey, coming up on your left. I try to do that as a commuter to let people know. The officers are great. When I see the officers, the park rangers, before the Greenway was all finished, the workers that were out there cutting the trails in, just fabulous. And I just want to give a round of applause to you all, the police officers, the rangers, everybody that has made this possible. And the Little Sugar Creek Greenway, if you haven't been out there, even if you get your feet muddy a little bit, it's well worth it. It's just fabulous. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Well, if nothing else, another reason, another excuse for me not to join the gym. Thank you. Any excuse I can come across is welcome news. So appreciate it. Appreciate Director Jones. I know how busy you and your folks are, and the work up to this whole thing. And appreciate you taking some time. And Captain King, and they'll both be available afterwards for anyone who's got any specific questions or one-on-ones that they wanted to do. If you wanted to advance the story further. So before we part company, what do we got on the radar? Anything looming before we leave?
Yeah. Anything about these, there's been a lot of paintball incidents a lot of times lately. Can you address any of the concern or how CMPD is responding?
Yeah, I think the bigger one that you referenced was the one from last week, that shootout with those grown men in traffic during rush hour. Who just lit their cars up with this. We talked about how irresponsible, inconsiderate, idiotic that is for anybody to engage in behavior like that. And, it's my understanding that these two fellas were on some kind of a crusade to draw attention to gun violence by starting some kind of ill-advised campaign. I'm being benevolent when I say it's ill-advised. They're lucky they didn't kill somebody out there. Foolish, irresponsible, idiotic, and something that people should refrain from engaging in. If you want to have a conversation about reducing gun violence, let's have a realistic conversation and look at activity that maybe wouldn't put the public in great harm. And that's exactly what they did. They put the public in great harm by getting involved in that. As far as enforcement goes, Alex, I know that there is a statute, a disorderly conduct statute that has a paintball subsection in it, and I think that would be applicable to this offense. No charges in that one, but something that we're certainly keeping on the table if we continue to see activity like this. Just dangerous stuff.
And so they'd be facing a disorderly conduct charge. I assume that they seriously injured someone, that's what would be happening.
Right, and completely different ball game, and the appropriate charges to be filed if someone, heaven forbid, is hurt or worse during one of these kind of ridiculous incidents. Absolutely. Everybody good? A little housekeeping. Wanted to pass along. We get a lot of questions about the Scheib family. Nicole Scheib, who passed last week, one of our telecommunicators, was involved in a wreck over on the interstate last week. Her brother, Christopher, North Tryon Division officer. His daughter, Ashley, 11 years old, in pediatric intensive care. Really touch and go for a while with this young girl following that wreck. They were on their way to Carowinds last week. A lot of you remember when they were struck and involved in that fatal collision. I understand update on Ashley. She's on the mend. She's actually walking. She needs to be assisted to walk, from what I hear. But things are certainly trending in the right direction. Christopher's wife was also in the vehicle. I was just told this morning that she was recently brought into emergency surgery for some issues she was having with her kidneys as a result of the arrest. So a couple of things. Wanted to thank the community. I know the Scheib family does, and if any of them could have been here today to say it themselves, you better believe they would have done it. Just completely overwhelmed with the outpouring from the community. There's a GoFundMe page that's really starting to take off, somewhere in the neighborhood of $17,000, $18,000. You can remember Nicole left behind a three-year-old little boy. She was a single mom, and needless to say, it's going to be a tough go for this young fella growing up without a mom. And thoughts and prayers. We continue to have thoughts and prayers for the Scheib family. We ask the community to do the same, and in the same vein, want to thank the community there. So, just wanted to pass that along for the Scheib family. All right, guys, appreciate you.
Thank you.